New at 6, the attorney for the man accused of causing a deadly pileup on I-35 back on March 13th says an independent lab did not find traces of drugs or alcohol in his blood sample. According to court documents, Solomon Araya told police at the scene he had not been drinking. This afternoon, an APD spokesperson told Fox 7 they are aware of the preliminary toxicology report and are working with prosecutors to determine specific charges. Officers arrested Araya, a driver for ZBN Transport, after the wreck that killed 5 people, including 2 children. Investigators say he crashed into traffic, which had slowed in a TxDOT work zone. He was charged with 5 counts of intoxication manslaughter and 2 counts of intoxication assault. Investigators say those charges were based on field sobriety tests conducted by officers. Araya is accused of being negligent in a $100 million lawsuit that also names ZBN Transport and Amazon.
Emotions high outside of the courtroom as the judge ruled to reduce a murder suspect's bond again.
And every time you bond him out, I will make sure he goes back.
This all goes back to a missed deadline. Stephen Morrison is accused of killing Keyshawn Cage in October last year. The Travis County District Attorney's Office failed to indict him within 90 days, so he was able to bond out of jail on $100.
I believe that the DA didn't do their job. They had a job to do. They owed it to Keyshawn, they owed it to our family to do their job. They didn't do their job. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is this guy should not be free.
The DA's office requested the bond amount be increased, and it was. Morrison was taken back to jail. The day Morrison was to put the money up to bond out of jail again, the DA's office obtained a new indictment on a retaliation charge. The defense claimed this was vindictive prosecution.
The irony of the retaliation charge being levied against Mr. Morrison is that it was retaliation against Mr. Morrison for posting bond.
The judge asked the state why they decided to pursue the retaliation charge now and not during the sentencing phase. The state responded saying, quote, matter of strategy. The defense subpoenaed 4 different people to testify in court Thursday. 2 of them didn't show up, including District Attorney Jose Garza.
If they wanted to talk about how important it is for justice for this individual's family, then show up and explain yourself, explain your conduct.
The judge stated she believed the new charge was in retaliation for Morrison being out on bond, but did not rule it was prosecutorial vindictiveness. She stated Morrison was entitled to a bond reduction, though, and lowered his bond from $100,000 to $30,000. This is the 6th different bond amount that's been attached to Morrison's name regarding this case.
I'm just ready to get this over with. I want justice for my son. I mean, it's caused our family a lot of pain and will continue to cause pain.
The state now claims they've received lab reports indicating the DNA on a weapon and clothing from the scene has a very strong likelihood it is Morrison's. They plan to file a motion and fight for a bond increase again on April 17th. Reporting live in the newsroom, Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Austin police are looking for 2 people involved in the deadly shooting of a man in downtown Austin Monday. Surveillance video captured the men running off after the killing. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis joins us from the newsroom with the latest tonight. Meredith.
Rebecca, police say the person who was with the victim when the shooting happened is blind. They were not physically hurt.
Imagine yourself being in total darkness and somebody being killed right next to you.
Austin police say that's what happened on Monday. At around 2 in the morning, a blind man was standing next to his friend Rex Johnson near East 4th Street and I-35 in downtown Austin. A man then knocked Johnson down to the ground and another man shot and killed him. The suspects ran off.
It's obviously pretty frightening if you're out walking with a sighted person at night and they're attacked and subsequently killed, and and you're left there to try to figure out what's going on.
Chris Prentice says the blind person probably has valuable information for detectives, though.
You don't have to be able to see someone to identify them. If the blind person knew these people or had some awareness of them, he could recognize their voices, he could recognize some of the other sounds they made, or remember what they said.
And as a potential witness, he says they need to be protected, as the people who did this haven't been arrested yet.
Until people are brought to justice, because I think they're potentially in danger.
Police are looking for these two suspects who they say targeted Johnson. They're described as two black males in their late 20s to early 30s. Police are also looking for any information to help with this investigation. Prentice says as much information as possible about what happened is needed to build this case for the district attorney to prosecute.
I don't want them to say, well, the only guy we got's a blind guy, we can't prove this, and basically throw it to the wayside.
Police Department, this is being investigated as Austin's 12th homicide this year. Reporting live in the newsroom, Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
The search continues tonight for a man Leander police say tried to kidnap a child this morning. Fox 7 Austin's Williamson County reporter Lauren Rangel joins us live from Leander PD with the latest. Lauren.
Rebecca, it was a scary moment for a mom and her 4-year-old child. Thankfully, police say that child is safe tonight and no one reported any injuries. However, their suspect is still out there. At 4 in the afternoon on Wednesday, Leander's Lakeline Boulevard is crawling with kids. That's partially why an attempted kidnapping here that morning is so concerning to parents and Leander police, including Lieutenant Mike Moeller.
Very, very, very uncommon. In the 25 years that I've been with Leander, almost 25 years that I've been with Leander, it's the first.
Around 7 a.m. at an apartment near Lakeline Boulevard and Hawk Drive, police say a mom was walking to her car with her 4-year-old child when a man tried to kidnap the child.
The mother did what any mother would do and protect her and her children.
She was able to fight him off before he ran south toward Cedar Park barefoot.
It's really an alarm to my head.
Jose Pasco waits to pick up his son from the nearby middle school in the neighborhood across the street.
Well, I have to be more concerned. I don't know if I have to change something. I have to make the line over there to make sure my kids are safe. But we should try to work with the neighbors, to see anything strange and spread the news, spread the word, because it's our kids. Yeah. They're our kids.
Lieutenant Moeller with Leander police say they were not able to locate the suspect via drones or canines, so he's turning to the public for help, identifying a white man he believes to be 5'9", thin build with short, dark, curly hair, last seen wearing light-colored shorts, a dark top, and no shoes.
We can't be everywhere at every time, so we're going to have the public, we increase the amount of people that can be out there being eyes and being ears for us. If they see somebody that resembles a suspect in that area, please give us a call. But also if they live close to that location, please, if you do have a Ring camera, you can just give us a call.
Well, if you have any information that might help police, they're asking you to call 512-528-2839. Police also increased their presence throughout these nearby neighborhoods today, but they do ask if you're one of the many people that walk in this area to stay aware of your surroundings. Try to travel in a group and turn your location on so someone always knows where you are. In Leander, Lauren Rangel, Fox 7 Austin News.
It's always heartbreaking when you see animals, living creatures like this that are just abandoned without any explanation or seeming remorse or anything like that.
These are the photos posted to the Leander Police Department social media platform, showing a person with 2 cages in their hand walking toward Texas Humane Heroes in Leander.
Saturday morning, about 15 minutes before we opened, and that's based on the camera footage we got, someone dropped off these 5 cats in a kennel outside.
Texas Humane Heroes is a nonprofit organization that takes in animals from overcrowded shelters.
We can't take any surrenders of any kind off the street.
The police department's social media post has drawn in hundreds of comments from the public. One comment stating in part, "Do you know the surrender fee for one animal at the shelter?" A second comment stating, "You can literally drop babies off at a fire station like returning a book to a library, but can't drop off a cat without leaving a note." Many in the comments unaware that dropping the cats off is considered abandoning the animals.
You are not allowed just to take an animal and then drop it off at your closest shelter without any sort of explanation or anything like that. That is the crime of animal cruelty. The first thing you are going to want to do is call your local animal shelter or rescue. That will probably be a municipal facility, probably in the county. If you live in a bigger city, check with that. Contact them, find out what the procedure is, explain your situation.
Long says the shelters will let those in need know if there is space available or recommend another facility. He says there are safer ways to rehome animals.
This is animal cruelty, it's abandonment, and if you're caught, you will face consequences for those actions.
Of course, we need to put an end to it. It's incredibly upsetting when we hear about the senseless loss of young life due to gun violence.
Austin police say around 10 p.m. Sunday on Bradshire Drive, 16-year-old Matthew Pichardo was found on the ground with a fatal gunshot wound.
The fact that there is trauma to the body leads them to believe that it needs to be investigated as a homicide.
The suspect, who is also a juvenile, left the scene but later turned himself in. He is facing a first-degree murder charge.
This is currently being investigated as Austin's 10th homicide of the year.
Just hours later, around 3 a.m. Monday on Harris Glen Drive, the 11th homicide of the year happened. 15-year-old Derek Fajardo Reyes was found with a gunshot wound in a black SUV that crashed into a utility pole. He was taken to a hospital where he died. APD says they are looking for a female who was with Derek before the shooting.
Nearly 300 children and teens died by firearms in Texas in 2023, which is where our most recent data comes from, making guns the #1 cause of death for young people in Texas and nationwide.
Nicole Golden, the executive director of Texas Gun Sense, says a change in gun laws at the state level means a change in gun-related crimes.
Legislation is definitely one critically important piece of the puzzle, because when we look at other states and we look at what they're doing and the legislation they've passed and implemented, we can see reductions in gun deaths. We know safe gun storage laws work. We know it works to require a background check on every gun sale. We know it works to have age restrictions because, many shootings are perpetrated by young people, especially when you look at some of the mass shootings that our nation has experienced.
Downtown South Austin, then Northeast Austin. 3 shootings around the city this weekend. The first was early Sunday morning on 6th Street. Mr. Ciego, the owner of Blindside Lounge, says he was working the door that night when chaos erupted next door.
I quickly started closing the doors, not allowing people to come in order to make sure that my patrons inside were safe, and I wasn't allowing some perpetrator in.
Police say one of the victims had gotten into a pedicab. They were able to catch up to them about 2 blocks away.
That's when we got more calls saying that there were more victims inside of a club on 6th Street.
Police say a total of 4 people were shot at the Lit Lounge.
At that location, there is pretty much chaos every weekend.
Records show there were at least 7 arrests on that side of the block last year.
It's really not this side, it's the problem side. It's abandoned, and two or three businesses that are completely irresponsible with the way they conduct business, and it's left with 3 small businesses trying to operate in a high quality manner in a low quality environment.
A suspect has not been arrested yet. The second shooting happened Sunday night, a little after 10. Police say a 16-year-old shot and killed another juvenile outside of a home on Bradshire Drive. The shooter ran off, but later turned himself in to the juvenile center a few hours later. He's charged with first-degree murder.
This is currently being investigated as Austin's 10th homicide of the year.
The third shooting happened near Harris Glen Drive and Howard Lane. Police say one person was taken to the hospital. Just last year, a teenager died in this same neighborhood at the hands of another teen.